Hey y'all, I wanted to do a video on how to get the most out of your braids, how to make sure that your hair is staying healthy in your braids, how to make sure that when you're taking your braids out you're not breaking your hair, and yeah, how to just get the most out of your braids. So if you want to know that info, tune into this video or continue watching this video. Alrighty, so to begin with, even before you go and get your braids, you want to make sure that your scalp is thoroughly cleansed. You want to make, especially if you're someone that often deals with scalp issues and stuff like that. Reason why is because when your hair is in braids, it's not easy to access your scalp that well. You know, you're probably gonna be accessing your scalp less often. So don't scrub your hair with a comb on dry hair. Don't scrub your dry hair and start flicking it. Don't do that. You could be damaging your hair follicles. You could be scratching up the surface of your scalp, and then what happens is now you have a scalp. Now you have a scab. You could also have infection on your scalp. Certain things like that. You know, kind of like when you're scratching your skin and you tear your skin, and then now you got a, scab and stuff like that, or you can get infected or some stuff like that. Something can happen to it. That you don't want that to happen to your hair follicles, to your scalp, because when that happens to your scalp, it's gonna be harder to grow hair in that area. You're damaging that hair follicle. Hair is not gonna grow. Kind of like when I got a scab on my. I have a scab somewhere, and that area right here, and the area where I have a scab, there's no hair growing. It feels shiny to touch. So that's what happens when you scratch your scalp. Your scalp, that place when it grows back, it could feel shiny to touch, and then it's harder for the hair to grow back in that area. You know, or maybe I don't know if y'all experience or know someone growing up that had like a bald spot, and they say, oh yeah, my mom said I fell over here when I was little and it grew back. That's how it grew back. You know, basically when it healed, I just didn't grow hair in that area anymore. But I don't know if y'all ever heard anybody say that, but I've heard people say that growing up. And that's what happens. It makes it harder for hair to grow back, and sometimes your hair cannot grow back. So make sure that you're not scrubbing your scalp with something dry. You want to make sure that your scalp is wet. Usually you could use a product agent, like a scalp scrubbing product agency. There's a lot of them out there. And you want to make sure that your hair is wet, like your scalp is wet. Spray some water first. And really, it should be after you shampoo, so your hair should already be wet. You don't want to do it before you shampoo where your hair is dry. So number two, next thing that you need to make sure you're doing before you get your braids is make sure you're doing a protein treatment. Protein, our hair is made up of 80% protein, and I often hear people say a lot that, oh, my hair has too much protein, and I'm not saying they're lying. I'm just like, I don't know, because our hair is made up of 80% protein, and a lot of the time when we're dealing with breakage or dry hair, it's because our hair don't have the protein it needs. So, okay, something else. Now, while you're getting your braids, I really think it's important to let your braider know not to put gel on your scalp, not to clog your scalp up with gel. Sometimes, I think it could be okay. It could work. Putting gel on the scalp could work if you put in a little quantity. Number one. Number two, something else I've done is, and this don't work for everybody, because if it's someone whose scalp is already inflamed or already deals with scalp issue, it may not work for them. They may still experience itchy, irritated scalp. But something else that I've done, if I was to use gel on somebody's scalp, is put aloe vera first and then put the gel, and then even after finishing the braid, then put aloe vera and oil on the scalp. I feel like it's like you're kind of acting it. You're being proactive about the scalp and stuff like that. But so that's another thing that I would say if you're a braider, or if you feel like if your braider wants to use the gel on the scalp, or if you feel like, that's just things I've done in the past. So I'm just mentioning. And but honestly, I really feel like we don't need gel to part the hair. I feel like it's kind of like I don't know. I feel like maybe if you're someone learning how to braid in the beginning, maybe you could use gel to part the scalp, because it allows you to see your line clearly. But if you're experienced and you've gotten a hang of it a little bit, you'll know. I feel like sometimes maybe at least that's how I felt in the beginning. I didn't really trust myself to part the hair properly. So that's why I would say maybe that's why other braiders, I don't know if other people feel like that, other braiders feel like that, but that's why I used to use gel on the scalp, because it's it helps me really see the line, you know. So that's why I'm like, okay, if you're gonna use gel on the scalp, at least be proactive. Don't put too much. Put very little. Ask your client, like, hey, do you have already scalp issues in the past, or do you deal with stuff like that, itchy scalp, blah blah blah. And be proactive about it, basically. But all right, so that's I talked about before. So before you get your braids, you want to make sure your scalp is properly cleansed, and you want to make sure you have a protein treatment. Now, during your braids, you want to make sure that your scalp is not being suffocated by gel. After your braids, when you're taking your braids out, first of all, I would say take your braids out if your hair is starting to weigh down. So if you have, like, for example, box braids or like any heavy type braids, like these twists, they don't weigh my hair down. I have twists in my hair right now. They're not weighing my hair down because they're so light and fluffy. So even though I got new growth, it's not weighing my hair down. So these I could keep in like for maybe up to 6 weeks without having a problem, or even longer than 6 weeks if I'm gonna maintain my scalp health, like if I'm gonna shampoo my scalp and stuff like that. But that's a whole nother story. Let's stay on track. Anyway, so if your hair is going to be like, if your hair is starting to feel heavy, your braids are starting to like feel draggy, that's a sign to take your braids out, because you don't want the follicle, you don't want your follicle to be having to be overwhelmed, because that's how we lose our hair as well. Even including that, if you're someone that likes to put your braids in ponytail, if you're, you know how sometimes we put our braids in a ponytail and then this one is like, you could feel it, like you could feel it's tugging. It's usually on the edges, and sometimes I experience it with the braid in the middle of my scalp too. So the edges in the middle, for me at least. I see other people on their edges though. Like when I physically see it on people, I see it on their edges. But you'll see like the follicle is like being pulled to one direction, and that's something you need to be careful of, because you're going to weaken your hair follicles and lose hair in that area as well. So if you're someone that likes to put your braids in a ponytail or half up, half down, anything that's holding your braid, make sure you're pulling at it a little bit so that it's not so, you know, it's not messing up your hair follicle. And make sure that if you feel like the braids are really weighing down, take it out. Or if you're someone that likes to put your hair in a ponytail and you're like, oh, these braids are starting to get heavy, maybe for the next like week before you take it out, leave it down until it's time for you to take it out. Because I feel like when we put it heavy, like in a ponytail, and the hair is loose, it'll cause hair loss. But it's not that, it wouldn't be as bad if you just wear it down once it starts to loosen up a little bit. So that's just my tip. And then last but not least, if when you're taking your braids out, I mentioned it earlier, but I'm gonna restate it here because this is the part for it. Anyways, you want to make sure to spray your hair with water or water and conditioner. Me personally, I like to do water and conditioner, and then I will rub oil through, because I feel like the oil, like the water and conditioner and then the oil, I don't know if it's a mental thing for me, but at least do the water and conditioner. You want to create some moisture. But for me, I feel like it creates more of a better slip when you do water and conditioner, or water only and then oil, or water and conditioner and then oil. I feel like it creates a better slip, and it's not gonna break your hair. So, because you don't, another reason why we deal with breakage, and when we take our braids out, it looks like our hair did not grow, is because your hair is breaking. As you're taking that braid out, your hair is just like breaking, because it's been so it's dried in that position, you know. So yeah. Anyways, if you learned something new, like, comment, and share. Comment y'all thoughts. I want to know, what do y'all think? What is something you do to make sure your braids are healthy? Let me know. Comment. Alrighty. Thank you for watching this video. I hope this was helpful and you learned something new. And I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.